Break.
Ready, set, go! Alright, hello and welcome to the Irresponsible Comic Book Podcast. My name is Evan, I'm the producer of this show. I'm here with the strobe light wildcard William. I don't think that was a strobe light, I think it was the TV flashing. And our resident expert, Dylan. It's his TV. Anyways, we're here to talk about a movie that was really bad. And how bad? Just exactly how bad was it?
Really bad.
It was
Terrible.
Yes. Nope, that's just clickbait. Welcome to the video. Thanks for clicking on it. We love this movie, actually. At least I do. We're going to talk about why we like it. Some of the stuff that, it sets up for the rest of the MCU and all that other stuff. Anyways, this movie opens up like this. And it's a blue light. Imagine this being a blue light. And it's the Tesseract. And then it fades into the Marvel logo. See, yeah, that just like that. Exactly like that. And then it fades into the Marvel logo. And then we get a shot of, I don't even remember exactly. But yeah, that's the intro. Eric Selvig. Yeah, pretty much. It's Eric Selvig investigating the Tesseract actually in like the SHIELD headquarters. He's being approached by Fury, who's like, what the heck is going on with it? Why is it active? And he doesn't know. He's like, I don't know, it just turned on. We tried to turn it off and it just turned on. So they have no idea what's really going on. They barely understood.
Try unplugging it and plugging it back in. Maybe that'll work.
Did you try unplugging it and then keeping it unplugged?
We're like, we don't know what's going on. And then it's like, it's still in battery source. Yeah. And then Hawkeye was like, well, it's a gateway, right? So maybe something on the other side is trying to get through. And then bam!
Boom!
Loki.
Explosion. Yes. It gets super hot and expands and blows up. And then somebody comes through the portal, through the door, the other side. It's Loki, the brother of Thor, who we actually also kind of see talking to... I want to say that's Ebony Maw, but I can't really tell.
I don't think it was. I think it was just unnamed henchman number one.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because they didn't have like an idea of who in all they wanted.
No, not at all.
At that time, because, Thanos looks totally different in this movie than he did.
Absolutely. Way different.
When Josh Brolin did him.
I guess the kind of reason why I got that vibe is because he does like the weird little hand thingy to Loki to like zap him out of it. Like when he's like using the Mind Stone, and that seems sort of like magical-ish, like I know how to like disconnect the neural link sort of thing, and Ebony Maw is like a super genius. I mean, it's obviously not the same version we see, but like neither was Thanos. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I don't think it was Ebony Maw. I think
no. It says, I googled it right now. It says the one Thanos, the other being is the one who was speaking with him on behalf of Thanos. So pretty much just like an unnamed henchman talking for Thanos, pretty much.
Rip. Okay.
That's what I said. Unnamed henchman number one.
That theory goes out the window for me. Anyways, so random henchman dude. It just like feels weird it being like somebody not important. But anyways, so we see Loki get the scepter from this random individual to take on the task of getting the Tesseract and bringing it to Thanos, who we don't know it's going to him in the first place, but that's ultimately his task. Oh, also I should say, spoilers for the Avengers if you haven't seen it yet. Don't watch this. I'm just kidding.
I mean, they should probably go figure out what they're doing with their life if they're watching this and not have seen the Avengers yet.
Yeah,
but I guess somebody could be watching it and going to see if I should watch the Avengers.
I guess so.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
If you want to get back into the MCU.
Yeah. Anyway, so Loki comes through and he uses the scepter that he's gotten from Thanos to mind wipe and control Eric Selvig and Clint Barton, and he runs away with them. He steals one of SHIELD's many vehicles and drives off into the sunset that's already been set, but anyway, because it's dark out. But they drive away and escape SHIELD. That was such a dumb line. I'm sorry I said it.
Never again, please.
Drive off
Never
into the
again.
sunset. That's the sun that's already set. You know. Okay. Anyways, so then Fury. One thing that I like caught in this that I didn't remember from watching it previously is Fury grabs the Tesseract straight up, which is something we can talk about a little bit later. Which is something that's different from what we've seen with every other incarnation of, you know, people grabbing stones in the MCU, and I think that's a little hint.
Well, he's got a glove on, doesn't he?
I think.
Yeah, but so does Red Skull.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Red Skull was grabbing a glove when he was holding the Tesseract.
Maybe he has some kind of like nanotech glove on. Like,
I think that's a stretch. Nanotech hasn't been created. Tony creates it. I'm pretty sure, at least in this universe.
Or but like some kind of, because like in like one of the things, like somebody grabs like a towel or like rag or whatever and like grabs it like in the towel. So like,
when is that? I'm gonna have to go back through and like, I mean, obviously we're going through and watching all these movies, but I'm pretty sure every other instance of people grabbing an Infinity Stone means like they're just wiped instantly, unless like you have something controlling it like the gauntlet, or like you're powerful enough like Thanos to just like hold it in your hand that, you know, he's a Titan. So
I mean, it could be the first, you know, instance of Fury, like showing that Fury is a Skrull.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at essentially, is that like maybe be more powerful than just a normal average human, and he could be Talos.
No, I'm looking at here. He's wearing a glove.
Fury is,
Yeah,
yeah.
the image here. Fury's grabbing a glove.
Also, Red Skull also was, I'm pretty sure, like when he grabbed the Tesseract and got teleported. Which ultimately,
like I can't tell.
Ultimately, could do more with his intent in grabbing it, but
It looked like he is, but it looks like it shows like his red
see.
hand, like he's holding it pure.
Let's look.
I'm looking. I'm looking.
Googling it.
I'm looking through it. I'm looking through it through Google, pretty much.
Tesseract scene. I'm just playing this on my end. Okay. Tesseract starts activating, so that probably why what happens.
It like melts his hand. But he has
It's
a glove.
hard to tell, but it doesn't look like he has a glove on.
Oh shoot. I think it like melts his
the difference
glove
is that
and
the
melts his hand.
Tesseract is already activating when he grabs it.
Yeah, that might be it.
Correct.
Because like it got hit with. That might be the
He
distinction.
did have a glove on.
Yeah, he did. I thought
Red
so.
Skull did have a glove on, but the Tesseract was already being activated when he grabbed it.
Okay, that's a good
Gotcha.
distinction to make. Sorry, I just needed to go down that tangent to be sure.
Yep. That's what we do. That's what we
Yeah.
do.
So it had been deactivated. It got activated on the side with like the Mind Stone trying to engage with it, and then ultimately allowing Loki to pass through. So they used the stone to manipulate the other stones into activating and firing up, which is something that can be done. And so that's how he's able to come through. But then it's deactivated, powered down after that fact. So that's why he's able to grab it just straight up. Okay,
Correct.
that makes sense. But anyways, so as he's, you know, trying to get away with it, obviously Loki ends up taking it from him, shoots him, but we find out pretty quickly he has, you know, Kevlar on, pulls the bullet out and tries to tell Maria Hill to stop them from leaving. There's a chase scene, and they have the plane chase him down. Loki uses the scepter to blow it up, and then they get away. So,
They do.
yes.
And they get away.
And then it leads pretty much directly into the recruitment of the Avengers, because it's become a level 7 threat. And so it, you know, Fury calls up Natasha and tells her that, hey, Barton's been compromised, we need you on this, and
She's like,
brings
"Damn
her
it."
she's like, oh no, not Barton, and you get that interrogation scene with her. then that leads directly to her going.
Well, we kind of have to talk about that interrogation scene because that's like her character in a nutshell.
Yeah. He's like, this guy's about to give me everything he knows. Yeah. No, I'm not.
That's a pretty good line. She's on the phone with him, and it's actually Coulson on the phone, not
Coulson,
Fury.
Coulson. I forget. Fury calls Coulson saying, Coulson, I need you to get
him together.
Yep.
Get it together. So yeah. So Coulson like threatens the dude. He says, I have a F-22 sitting about 8 miles out, and I will blow up the entire block before you get into the lobby. So yeah, they were like, oh shit, okay, let me talk. We'll let you talk. And so Coulson is like, look, Barton's compromised. We need you to come and start up the Avengers Initiative. We need you to come in. And I don't know if it's on that phone call. I believe it is that. No, it's not. It's once she gets back to S.H.I.E.L.D., she is expected to go get the big guy. When they say you need to get the big guy, and she goes, yeah, Stark doesn't really want anything to do with me. And they go, no, the big guy, meaning the Hulk. That line's really funny.
Yeah,
because she just misreads it.
Yeah, she's like, no, Stark doesn't want nothing to do with me. He abandoned me, Yeah. He knows I'm a double agent now, this and that.
There's not a lot of trust there at all. Yeah. There's no trust there in all actuality.
There was never no trust between Starks and S.H.I.E.L.D. We know about their history.
Yeah, no, not at all. So then that leads to Banner's recruitment almost immediately, and some of the best lines from that is like no, it's just you and me, and then she tells everybody to stand down, and he goes, oh yeah, just you and me.
Actually, it's a new Hulk. It's not the original. It's not the one that we.
I also realized Ruffalo keeps saying the other guy, and I think that's a shot at Edward Norton.
It's supposed to be,
and honestly, it's pretty funny, like thinking about it now, and like the bad blood, but also it's he seems super awkward saying those lines. He just is like,
I think it's like so it's supposed to be referring to like Edward Norton, right? But like,
I mean, it's
it's also like a good way to like they don't have a name for the Hulk yet, really, like
not necessarily.
So that's why he says the other guy.
Yeah.
Because there's no real name for the Hulk at the moment. I mean, I know in the Norton movie that like they were like, if there's some kind of Hulk.
Yeah.
But like they never started saying that's his name.
Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately, like he got tired of saying like the other guy, and like he uses it intentionally. Obviously, want to take that kind of shot at Edward Norton, but also because like he just doesn't have like that relationship with the Hulk quite yet. But that's like the name that they used. That college kid called it like the Hulk when they were fighting on the college campus. And so, he ultimately just kind of like adopts it, and like it's like halfway through the film, like when they're like doing the little scene over this, talking with the scepter. So he, instead of calling it the other guy, he refers to himself as the Hulk, that other version. So something you kind of like. I think that Banner is like pretty underrated overall, and obviously he's never gotten his own movie, so his like development is underrated as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, we missed so much with him, like going on to like 4 other movies, but like we missed so much of him in his character development because they don't show his character development into Smart Hulk. They don't show any real character development.
In between Ultron
from,
and Ragnarok.
Like him losing his mental ability, and then the Hulk like gaining more cognizance. Yeah, really, like
and being in charge on Sakaar and always being there, and Banner shoved away for years. So
so we lose a lot of like the Incredible Hulk's like backstory. I guess not really backstory, but like
his experience in
his experiences, and it kind of sucks. But I mean, I think overall it's probably better this way because they realized that there's times where you don't do the Incredible Hulk backstory because Unfortunately, it just doesn't sell very well.
No, it doesn't.
No, and I mean after when he did like the first movie, they hit like a really big wall with that character. A wall that can never break through.
Yeah, you're right. Especially because like it's a darker. We talked about this a little bit earlier that like DC needs to kind of be like the dark side, and Marvel's like trying to keep it lighthearted. You can't really do Hulk without getting excessively emotional and exploring that trauma that like he feels from and guilty he really goes through. Like they do it a little bit with the screen time that they do give Ruffalo, like in Age of Ultron when he destroys the building and scares the citizens and stuff like that. Like they go into it, and like that, being the Hulk is his biggest fear, and that's why he like transforms into him. So the amount, I think why it's so underrated is because even though he doesn't get a lot of the screen time and he doesn't get a lot of the story, the stuff that he does get is really, really good. So especially in this movie. So so then obviously so you got Romanoff, Barton's gone, even though he's part of the team, and then you got Hulk, and so like then you got the big three technically left. So then it's it cuts to like Fury talking about to the council about phase 2, which we don't know what that really is yet. And then it transfers
weaponizing.
Yeah, essentially they say that there's like a line that's really, really good from the council where they say, wars aren't won over sentiment. And he goes, no, they're won with soldiers. And then it cuts straight to Cap's recruitment stuff. Yeah. And it's like,
You know what the funny thing is? Like, we never get to see the council anymore after these Avengers movies. We never see them again.
I think that, like, the council is, like, the higher-up members of S.H.I.E.L.D. that, like, we see sort of in Winter Soldier, but we don't know exactly.
I don't remember seeing them in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it's not like, they never, like, say for sure that, like whoever the guy is that's like in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. above Fury, who was like secretly a Hydra agent, like he's probably part of that council, and it's probably like a group of like high up people at S.H.I.E.L.D. that like counsel Fury on him being the director and like where to go. So it's like it's like a board of directors for S.H.I.E.L.D.
I get you, but like I'm not saying what they do. I'm just saying like we never see them after this movie.
Yeah, I mean
they never show up.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we don't really see it, but we can only infer. Them,
but I think a lot of the stuff in the background is that like they all go away because you know
Fury
Captain
was
America, the Winter Soldier stuff going on.
Yeah,
like the fall of Hydra. Like
yeah, I would say that like some of those members and like those people that were Hydra agents or even like people that were loyal to S.H.I.E.L.D., like they were not explicitly stated that they're on the council, but the council probably dissolves even after the Avengers win in New York, because the Fury goes, look, I made the right call, you guys need to trust me, like we don't need this council, I need to have more control. And then like they still have like some hierarchy or whatever, and then that obviously blows up in their face in Winter Soldier. But like that's probably why we don't see the council, is because Fury was right here in this movie, and it's like, you guys need to just get behind me and fall in line, because I know what I'm doing and you guys don't trust me. So that would make some sense. So then he goes to recruit Cap, and then there's that really good line about the Tesseract that kind of it doesn't like foreshadow anything directly, but it kind of just shows like the gravity that the Tesseract kind of has. Is like Stark pulls it out of the ocean and he goes, do you have any advice on what we should do about this Tesseract? And he goes, yeah, you should have left it in the ocean.
Exactly.
Because like it's just so, it draws attention that's unwarranted, like Schmidt and ultimately Thanos and Loki, that's what it brings. That's the kind of power. And they also talk a lot about some of the stuff that like gets fully developed out in like Civil War, where they're talking about how this is just like you're bringing greater threats to the Earth by showing that you have the power to negate them. And it's kind of like the whole theory that Viz made up, where it's like the number of superpowered individuals keeps increasing and the level of like worldwide threats just keeps growing even faster than that. So
correct.
Yeah.
Is this boat the boat, or is that boat the boat?
Yeah. Is it the ship at this?
Don't we also see Sharon Carter in this one as well? In the neighbor in this?
She's not in here at all. No,
I
that's
don't
not
think
till,
so. No, right?
It's not till
no, because like her neighbor, like because Cap was going back to like his apartment, and Sharon Carter was like right there. Or was that something else?
I don't think
that's
so.
in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think that's
okay,
Winter
gotcha.
Soldier. Yeah. So then after they recruit Cap, they go and it pans to Iron Man making like his own like arc reactor out of like geothermal pipes or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but he makes his own arc
he's
reactor.
making sustainable energy out of a renewable resources of the arc reactor, essentially.
Yeah. So he's like building an arc reactor under the water nearby Stark Tower in New York. And then like he meets up with Pepper. They talk about how the building is now completely self-sustainable and stuff like that, and that it's really great.
He just has to go in and like change it every like 6 months or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Whatever that line is.
Yeah, something. I think I want to say it's 6 months. I believe.
Something like that.
So, yeah, it's just like how he has to like update the cartridges, sort of thing. How he did in Iron Man 1. It's the same sort of deal. Or is that Iron Man 2? Iron Man 2, he's replacing the cartridges.
Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I guess he's doing it in 1 as well,
probably.
but like they don't show it till 2 because otherwise he'd be dead. So then there's like one of my favorite lines from that scene with like Pepper is he goes like about building Stark Tower is he goes, I did all the heavy lifting, like literally I carried all the heavy stuff like in the suit. He built the tower. And they're talking about how like, yeah, you set up like the security systems, and then Coulson ends up breaking in. He's like, see, yep, that's on you. That's why you own. And like the 12% comments about how she should get 12% of the credit and stuff like that. So yeah, all those things are really funny. But yeah, Coulson breaks in and tells him like, hey, no, like you really need to look at this. Gives him a folder, and he's like, no, I don't take things. So Pepper takes it and then gives it to him. It's so funny. And then
Pepper starts asking him about his personal life.
Yeah, about the cellist.
And she's like, wait, what? And Tony's like, wait, his name is Agent.
Yeah, his first name is Agent. Yeah, all the lines with Robert Downey Jr. is just great. We love the dude. Yeah. So,
R.I.P.
Dude, I know.
Wait a minute, he's alive.
Rip Iron Man.
Okay.
Iron Man.
Spoilers if you haven't seen any of the rest of the MCU.
Robert Downey Jr.
Anyways,
That's
so then it cuts to like them all ultimately like getting together on the helicarrier sort of thing. So like Nat and Banner and Cap are all on there. Tony's off doing his own thing, and we still haven't seen anything from Thor because he's off-world, and the Rainbow Bridge and the Bifrost are broken. So he's, at this point, not allowed to, be in the movie. We don't expect him, or at least that's how it's supposed to seem. So then ultimately, the first sighting, they do a bunch of reconnaissance work to try and figure out where Loki might be and what's going on with the Tesseract, trying to track it. So they have Banner focus on the gamma radiation, whereas they're using all the satellites to facially track and phones and laptops and everything to try and track where Loki is. And pretty quickly they get a hit, and Cap goes to go and capture him in Germany, ironically. And they're there to it's stated you get a quick shot of Hawkeye and Selvig talking about the supplies they need to make sure that this reaction with the Tesseract is stable. And Loki and Hawkeye says he needs an eyeball from somebody to make sure that they can break into this vault that has this substance called iridium that they use. And so Loki makes this huge scene by, it's some auctioneer or something like that, some guy giving a speech, and he throws him against his altar and stabs him in the eye and steals his eye signature. so that Hawkeye can break into this and they get what they need. But he also purposely allows himself to be captured so that they can ultimately fill out their full plan of, Hawkeye coming and destroying the helicarrier and breaking up the team from within. That sort of thing. He's there to purposely get captured, and so he can manipulate them down the road. And so he fights Cap, and Cap has this like super cool entrance where this old man stands up and says, I'll never kneel to people like you. And he's like, oh, there's no people like me, is what Loki responds with. And then the old man responds, there's always going to be people like you. And he goes to blast him, and Cap drops in and blocks it with the shield and fights Loki. And then looks like he's going to get beat, but then Iron Man comes in and saves the day, because that's how he does it with flair. Blasts some music out of the Quinjet from above. And comes in, and they capture him, take him back to the helicarrier.
I was like, up, easy. Cap's like, no. Iron Man's like, this is easy.
Flying
Easy capture. You just got to throw the bad guy in prison. Job well done.
So, before they can get back, they have that conversation, and they're like, it's too easy. And then they start hearing some lightning, and Cap turns and goes, you afraid of a little lightning? And Loki goes, well, I'm not too fond of what comes afterwards. So Iron Man opens the bay door, goes out to fly. Before he can even get there, Thor drops in on the back of the Quinjet, knocks him with the hammer, grabs Loki, and flies out. And Cap tells Tony, hey, we need to make a plan. He goes, yeah, I got one. Attack. So it's pretty simple. So jumps out of the plane, goes to chase Thor and Loki. Same thing, Cap just jumps out with the parachute to go chase him. And then they have that little fight down in the woods.
You missed another good line.
Oh shit, I did actually. Hold on. I did. It's hold on. I got it here. I got it. Hold on.
Come on.
Jeez, where is it at?
Oh my god.
Gosh, wow, my notes are all over the place. Okay, so is it the one right before he jumps? Yeah. He goes, there's only one God, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that. That's a good one.
There it is.
I was like, hold on, I know this one.
I think you also missed a part where before they fight, Loki and Thor have like a little brotherly moment saying, "Come back home, Loki," this and that, and then that's when Tony.
That's after they land, and then you see Odin's birds flying around, and Loki's looking at them, like knowing what's going on with them, but Thor doesn't think anything of it.
No, he's not really paying attention to his surroundings.
No. Yeah.
And then that's when they have their little talk of come home, like blah 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 blah. Then Iron Man comes in, swoops in, and attacks Thor.
And just taps him like nothing's like. And then Loki's like, "I'm waiting."
Yeah. And Loki's
listening. Like,
Loki's just
it's all.
Yeah. He goes, "I'm listening."
He says he actually does exactly say, "I'm listening."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening. Like, I'm listening. Like, you got something to say?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so then they have that big old fight scene. Thor goes, you want me to put the hammer down? And then they're all exhausted and beat up from fighting, and they go, are we done here? And ultimately take...
No, wait, you forgot what Tony says to Thor.
I can't say them all. Does mother knoweth thou weareth thou drapes or whatever? Something like that.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Dude, there's
too
many...
mother knoweth you wear her thine drapes?
Mother knoweth... Yeah, there's so many good lines in this movie. It's hard to remember them all. As I'm watching this, like through like the first 40 minutes, there's not a single line that's like bad. Like the entire script up through like, you can even say the entire movie. There's not a single line where you're like, okay, that didn't need to be there, or that's too goofy, or this should have been said instead, or like this should have been more. Like everything through this movie is pretty perfect script wise. Like it is so well done. every line's a banger. That's why I'm like struggling to like I'm
No, I
looking
get
through
it, I
all
get
these
it.
and I'm like, man, there's so
No, I
many
get
good
it.
one-liners.
That's why we're here to help you out. But
Yeah.
and before they had their big fight, you know.
Man. So ultimately, you know, they have that big fight. Does Mother know you wear her drapes? Should I bring the hammer down? Whatever. And then they give up the fight. They take Loki back to the helicarrier, and they're discussing like what they should do about him after they've locked him up. And there's like this scene where he's like walking by Banner and like laughing and smiling at him. They like,
He's like,
foreshadows exactly what he's there for, is to get the Hulk to come out and destroy the team so that they have no chance. And so like everything is calculated in these lead ups, but they like sit down and talk, and Thor's mad at somebody that they're insulting Loki, and he goes, now watch what you say. He's an Asgardian and he's my brother. And that goes, he killed 80 people in 2 days. And he goes, he's adopted.
He was adopted.
He's adopted. And it's dude, there's just so many good lines. That man's playing Galaga. We thought we wouldn't have noticed. That scene's in there.
Which is now
like,
the biggest meme.
Yeah, it is. That and I understood that reference. That one's pretty much right in that same exact one there. When this is like something that like tees up stuff in Ragnarok, when like Iron Man walks into the room for the first time and sees Thor. He says, no offense. He like taps him on the shoulder and he's like, no offense, Point Break, like talking about like bad about Asgardians. I understand that reference. Like when Thor doesn't, is like a reference to like Wizard of Oz, and that's something that like was around even, I think, back when he was. So it's like that's something that's like old enough that like he understands actually, that he hasn't had to catch up on.
1930s? No, early.
I want to say even
40s,
but like
early 40s.
Yeah, early 40s, like 41, 42. Yeah, look it up real quick. So it's like something like, you know, he turns out and like looks at and it's like, yeah,
1939.
39. Yeah, see?
Late 40s. Or late 30s. Late 30s.
Yep.
Then something that I kind of want to bring up with you guys is this next scene that ends up happening after that is they all kind of split off to go like do their own thing to like get the jump on Loki and try and figure out like how to stop the Tesseract and this invasion and everything. Is Banner and Tony and Steve all end up in the lab together talking about this initiative and how the Avengers just came together, and he's like, why are we just now coming together? Why hasn't this been a thing before? Why just now? And Tony reveals that he's like trying to decrypt all of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s security files so he can figure out what they're really trying to plan for, and that Banner's like kind of like the middle road of that, and he's like, you know, like I'm not doing anything to like actively look, but like it does kind of smell fishy. And Steve's like trying to like convince them both to like, you know, hey, just be the good soldier. We're like we're about to go to war, like just follow orders sort of thing. But ultimately like agrees with them and goes searching down in the bottom layers of the helicarrier in the storage.
He was already kind of feeling the same things, but once like somebody said it, then he's like, okay, like let's look into it a little bit more. I think at least.
But he still like tried to like put that save face on to like try and convince him like, hey, you don't need to do that, like don't worry. These guys are good. That's just how he operates. And it kind of made me think about it, and I was like, man, this scene here really cements these three as like the big three more so. And you guys might disagree with me, like the big three being Thor and those two, Cap and Tony, because they all have their own trilogy, whereas Hulk doesn't have a movie. And you know, I think that like that these three in particular are like obviously like the two paths and then like the middle road, you know. And it's the same. I mean, obviously he's not there for Civil War, but like I think that he wouldn't even be able to pick a side if he was, and he'd just try and avoid it all. You know what I mean? And ultimately he does by like trying to. Yeah, like he wouldn't have been able to pick either team to be on, and Thor doesn't care enough to pick a side, which is kind of why they were able to exclude them from that story and have them off doing their own things.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's a good assumption.
Yeah. But more so that, like, I want to say that they're the big three because they have the most, like, influence in controlling what happens on Earth.
Yeah.
And they are the ones that care the most.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I get that, like, people think that, like, it's the big three with Thor because, you know, Thor has his own movies and, you know, like, that's like the three coolest, but, like,
I agree with you.
I would say that, like, the big three of Marvel, and especially now going forward, it's gonna be, I mean, the guys that left, like, the most behind and, like, influenced the rest of the heroes the most are, you know, Cap, Tony, and ultimately it will be, I think Hulk is, like, gonna be a bigger leader in the future. Like, we saw him in the post-credit scene with Shang-Chi. We saw him as, you know, trying to be, I guess, sort of an influencer in, like a social media sort of influencer guy as Smart Hulk, and he's, like, gonna be in the She-Hulk series and probably I would assume a bigger role down the line. Whereas the other two have, like, created a legacy and he's still, like, trying to keep that alive, sort of thing.
I mean, he's trying to work on his own because, like, a lot of it is kind of a redemption path for him.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, then you get that after, you know, Steve leaves, you get that scene between Tony and Banner about how that much gamma radiation should have, you know, killed him, and that there's probably a reason why he's still alive, and that the Hulk saved him. And, you know, Banner goes, save me for what? And he goes, I guess we'll find out. And then ultimately that's about the snap that happens in Endgame and bringing everybody back, because he was able to handle that much gamma radiation from the stones. And so that whole line is pretty beautiful. Let's see. So then you get a little bit more dialogue in between Thor and Coulson. Like, they're talking about how, oh, hey, make sure Jane's okay, make sure she's out safe. They gave her some, like, big old gig to, like, speak somewhere with a lot of money, something she couldn't say no to, like an offer she can't refuse. So she's out doing that and will be safe away from anything Selvig could do to teach Loki to use or manipulate against Thor, because that's his fear. So she's out of the picture, and that's all good. But you kind of, like, see Thor, how much he's matured since we last saw him. You know, he was
even
this guy
in the short amount of time that it was.
Yeah, like, it was super short. But, you know, he went from this kid who was willing to start a war at any cost to this guy who was just trying to avoid one. For the same exact reasons, at any cost. And his, like, discussion with Coulson and Fury about, hey, what do I need to do to, like, really put an end to this? And, like, Fury asks him straight up, like, what are you willing to do? He's just grown a lot. So that's really cool to see. And ultimately, like, it sounds like he's ultimately asking him to kill Loki, you know, if needed, which wouldn't actually help their cause, but he sends, or even, like, torture him or something like that. But he sends Natasha in to interrogate him instead, because she's the best at getting information out of people. And Loki ends up giving up his plan, but it's kind of too late anyways, because Hawkeye's tracked where the helicarrier was, where their base was, and starts shooting explosive arrows at the engines and shutting it down from the inside through the little USB arrow or whatever that was that shut down the other engines. What else? So then you get that whole scene where everything's going to chaos, because you know, Steve goes down into the storage unit, discovers all the old Hydra weapons and Hydra gear. Meanwhile, Tony and Banner have figured out the actual meaning behind Phase 2, and Thor is just there, just being silly about it, thinking it's, oh, you guys are so dumb. You guys are so petty and small. And Nat's just like trying to calm everybody down. And so they're all kind of in a screaming match. And you get like the biggest confrontation, surprisingly, from Cap and Tony, who, even though like they both were like, yeah, this is ridiculous. Why are you trying to make these weapons? Like, they're still going at it for some reason, because they just disagreed on how you should be looking into things or something. I don't know. I really don't get. That's the one thing about this movie that doesn't really add up, unless I miss something in that fight scene where they start talking about it's the take that suit arm away. What are you? Like, what the lead up to that doesn't really make sense to me, other than like everyone's going off at each other for no reason. Like, there wasn't a line. As I'm rewatching it, I went, there's nothing there that
pretty much like give him the super shipment, and Tony feels a little bit like neglected and all that stuff.
You guys froze for a second. Say that again. Sorry.
Oh, are we good?
Yeah, you're good now. You froze for a second as you were starting that.
Oh, because I was saying that was because Tony feels a little bit like, I guess, a little jealous and a little bit neglect, because like, you know, Howard's like so happy that he made Captain America.
Yeah.
You know, that's like his new pride, new favorite toy and child and all that, and you know,
yeah,
that's why Cap feels a little bit, not Cap, I mean Tony feels a little pity and all that, like saying, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's a lot of Tony had this built-up idealistic idea of who Captain America was.
Yeah, based on stories.
Based off of stories that his dad like gave him, and then when he didn't see that, he started feeling like, well, maybe my dad was wrong about this guy.
Yeah. He like, when he meets a man, just like a normal dude, he goes, oh, really?
Yeah, and that's why he said everything special about you came in a bottle.
Yep.
Because he's not seeing all these like
qualities
things that he has done. And then that's why then that's when Captain America retorts back going, what are you, some dude in a piece of armor, take that away. Like, and then the freaking
then the ship blows.
And Natasha just going,
okay.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was like billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Just like,
yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he kind of is.
Yeah, he is.
But the whole thing of like when.
But
like we missed like one of the best parts though is like when Fury is talking to Tony for hacking into the system, and Tony's like, "I'm sorry, Fury, what were you lying?"
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was so good because like, the line like, basically leading up to that is Cap like,
and then Cap walks in at that point. And
I think it's right before Cap walks in and he goes, "What is this stuff then?" He's like, he I think Stark asks him, he's like, "Hey, so what exactly is Phase 2, huh?" Because he like has broken the initial barrier and like sees the title Phase 2. And he goes, what? That is nothing.
He's like, weapons.
And then he goes,
and then Fury's like, we don't have time to talk about this. Blah blah. Phase 2, and then Tony goes, I'm sorry, what were you lying?
Yeah. He goes, we keep. He's like, it's not about weapons. We log everything about the Tesseract, is what he was trying to say. And then that's when Tony cuts him off with that line. It's so good. Yeah. He's like, excuse me, what are you lying about?
Of course,
trying to say this.
Yeah. And obviously Tony doesn't trust him. Steve doesn't trust him after that at that point. And none of them really at this point want to work for Fury. They know that like ultimately there's this big threat. And this kind of gets to like the coolest sort of like, not the coolest scene because there's lots of cool scenes in this, but like one of the cooler shots in particular from this film is like them flipping the camera as they like pan out. They get back to behind the scepter and then they flip it upside down to like show, hey, look, this whole team is is not together. They're completely backwards. This is the opposite of what the Avengers is. And it's all at the hands of Loki and his scepter, you know. So, and it's also really cool that like the Mind Stone is in there. So he's literally just like messing with their minds in a way without, even though he has the technology to actually do it, he's not. He's just playing games because that's who he is. That's who Loki is as a character, which is great. And so then ultimately, you know, Banner is transported back to his room because Banner doesn't want to be around all that. And Natasha takes him, but then arrows start hitting the side of the helicarrier and blowing up. And he turns into the Hulk, and everything goes to shit. You get Thor versus Hulk, and you get Iron Man.
No wait, you missed the one important scene where after they capture Loki, Natasha interrogates him and kind of like tricks him, saying, you know,
that was before the that was kind
of earlier
argument.
Yeah,
that was before.
But they're all there, and then and that's when they argue after they started arguing after that because the scepter was already taking control of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. At the end of that fight, the reason why Banner gets out of there is because he picks up the scepter during the argument.
Correct.
And he's like talking about, I put a bullet in my mouth. So like at the end of that fight is when he leaves. But Natasha had already interrogated him before.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah. You just skipped that part.
I think I said it a little bit. Maybe I skipped over it. I don't know.
You kind of did.
That seems pretty good.
Anyway, let's move on.
Let's see what else. So then you get obviously they just kind of get pit against each other, and like I think the cool thing about it is like Thor and Hulk go at it, and then Natasha and Clint go at it, but Iron Man and Cap work together, even though they were like at odds with each other like less than 2 minutes before that. Like they are the only people that team up in this, like the entire sequence. They're the only two that work together in any way. Like everybody else is fighting against each other. So
we're getting a little robotic.
Yeah, your audio's messing up.
Oh, sorry. It was good on my end, my bad. But yeah, essentially what I was saying is everybody's at odds against each other, but Cap and Tony still find a way to fight together and turn the engine back on. Do you guys hear that one okay? Sorry. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
It's still a little robotic, but I mean, we can still hear you good.
Probably the connection. Sorry. Just because.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of shitty weather here.
Yeah, but that's okay. So Thor and Hulk are going at it, and Hulk ultimately gets shot by that plane that they send in, and then jumps on it, and it ends up going and crashing into the earth. So Hulk's out of the equation, which leaves Thor the opportunity to go and try and stop Loki from escaping. Instead, he ends up getting shoved into the glass cage and trapped. And then we get Coulson, who goes in to try and save the day. And Coulson gets...
there's two discrepancies with that scene, right? With the Coulson scene?
No. What do you mean by
those? So originally, when it was first aired, when Coulson gets stabbed by Loki, the spear doesn't go all the way through.
Interesting. And then they changed that when it got released on...
So when it got released on Disney Plus with Loki, when they redid that scene and the show Loki, and they stabbed him and the spear goes all the way through, they changed it in the actual Avengers movie to have the spear go all the way through.
Interesting. Are you sure?
So, like, when you watch it on Disney Plus now, the spear will go all the way through. But if you have it on Blu-ray or DVD or something,
it doesn't.
The spear won't show it going through.
What the frick? That's crazy. I didn't even realize that. I always remember it going through.
It's the Mandela effect.
It's the Mandela effect. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, what the
I remember watching it originally in theaters with two of my other friends. The spear never went through. What the
heck? But yeah, you relive that in the Loki series. They cover that, and then him, ultimately escaping.
but now it shows it, and like if you watch it on Disney Plus, which is where most people will be watching it now because it's just easier to watch.
Do you think that that is because of its rating, PG-13? Like, I don't know if that one scene would be enough to change the rating, but
I mean, part of the reason why they did it. I think it's because they didn't want to take the chance that it was going to cause like some form of like uproar.
Okay.
So like, yeah, like you know that he got stabbed, but it's an implied stabbing because you don't see it go all the way through.
Yeah. Like you just hear him go, oh, and then pans backwards, and then Loki's there. Okay, yeah.
So it's like go ahead, William.
Even with that scene with that one guy getting his eye poked at, I mean, they didn't show him that getting his eye, stabbed in the eye to get the scanner.
Yeah, because I know you can, to get PG-13, you can only have so much blood and gore.
Yeah,
at least at that time.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a lot more lenient now. Like Doctor Strange said the F word twice in Spider-Man: No Way Home. So. Or what? No, he said the S word twice. Sorry. But still, that's normally you're not allowed to use those words more than once, in a PG-13.
That one's a little bit less of an offense, I think. Yeah. What they're looking for is like the big ones, like the F word, or like the C word.
Okay.
Or like they're looking for those kind of ones that like really offend a lot of people, but like just saying like shit.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to get too many. Like I mean, you'll get the occasional, Karen. Oh my god, I can't believe they said that in the middle of a kids movie.
Yeah,
but and then we'll just say, "Fuck you, Karen."
Fuck you, Karen. Jesus.
But like, but them saying shit is not going to like stop the mass media and make them riot because of it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, obviously, or yeah. Yeah.
But like if like per se Doctor Strange was like, all right, let's fucking Scooby-Doo this shit. And he said that twice.
Yeah.
Then like
that's fair.
Like that would have changed it a little bit. I don't think even doing that would have changed it from being PG-13.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just like context of wording. But I don't think that would have changed it from PG-13 to R, but I guess there's a better chance of it doing that than not.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because it's really not that much more blood or gore, like having it come all the way through. In fact, I think it makes more sense for Loki as a character to have gone that far, you know what I mean?
Well, it definitely does make more sense for him to go that far, but like, the scene does now have the spear going all the way through, and it's pretty bloody spear.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So there, I get it's kind of half full of one or 5 dozen of the other or whatever they say.
Yeah.
6 dozen or 6 twelfths.
Yeah.
Whatever the saying is.
Yep. But anyways, after that. Obviously, Coulson dies. Thor gets sent out with in the cage, and then Loki ends up leaving on a in a Quinjet, I believe. Leaves off the helicarrier on a Quinjet, and disappears. Whereas Nat fights Barton, brings him back to reality. Hulk crashes,
smashing his head into a bar.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Kicking. Well, she hits his head into the bar, and that's when he has he says her name. He's like, "Huh, Nat," and she hits him again, knowing that like, oh, okay, I just got to reset his brain. So, so then you kind of have the full team back together. She says whoever's left, and you're kind of like, okay, well, everyone's still alive, but it kind of leaves it up in the air to like be like, who's gonna actually choose to fight. And it seems like Tony doesn't necessarily want to at first, and Cap's trying to talk him into it when they're sitting where the glass cage was. And then all of a sudden, Tony starts evaluating like his mentality, like Loki's mentality, and realizes, oh, they're going to be on Stark Tower because he's a narcissist, and he understands himself and he understands what Loki wants, so he knows, oh, he wants an audience. And so ultimately Tony says, yeah, I'll go fight there because this is literally my house. And I think, ironically, Tony's more concerned about, at least at first, making sure he keeps his house before he helps save the world. But then ultimately that shifts pretty quickly. Yeah, so then Cap obviously wants to still fight. He's the only one like left at that table. Obviously it's just him and Tony, but Tony like walks away to leave, and Cap's the only one there, so you're like, this is the only guy who really like cares to fight anymore, and he's always the last one standing, which is just, this is just the first of many examples, I guess. And there's like the line at that beginning too, where Cap asks Tony, is this the first soldier you've lost? Talking about Coulson. And Tony snaps back really fast and he goes, we are not soldiers. And I think that's really important. That's kind of Tony's mentality overall, is like, he's not going to make sacrifices. There's no trading lives. And that's kind of what the Avengers get built around in the future. And that's why, Cap ultimately believes that in Infinity War. The line that Coulson says actually is really important before he dies. He's talking to Fury about the legitimacy of the Avengers, and he goes, this was never gonna work if they didn't have something ... dead. And
something worth fighting for, pretty much.
Yeah, you could say that, or it's even more implied, something to avenge. And so that's why they become the Avengers. Ultimately, why they take that name. The Revengers. The Revengers. But anyways, ultimately, they end up choosing to like leave outside of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s command. So like the rest of them get together. Obviously, Thor and Hulk are separated at this point, because they got sent out of the helicarrier, but the other four decide to, hey, we're going to go to New York and we're going to stop this. And so they leave without telling Fury, and ultimately, like, he knows they're going to go, which is why he's like, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to sit here and pretend and play dumb. But he took the Captain America cards out of Coulson's locker and bloodied him up and threw them on the table. He didn't get them off his body, and Maria Hill calls him out on it. Those were in his locker, and he just goes, they needed to push. And so he's just, again, that's just kind of who Nick Fury is. He's a manipulator. That's why he's the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I mean, he's doing it in good faith because it's what they need. But yeah, so that happens. And ultimately, this is one of these, I always see people go back and do like these foreshadowing sort of moments, these tee up like what's gonna happen in Age of Ultron, the line, we fight together and we'll win sort of thing, like those videos. There's a line that Loki says to Tony, that's, you will all fall before me. And ironically, he's the first to die out of any of them. He gets killed by Thanos in this venture before anyone else. And then it's Nat, and then it's Tony years and years later. But he's the first to fall. And I mean, obviously, like, he's the first one defeated in this. None of them end up dying, but he's also just the first to go overall. All right. So then, obviously, I mean, there's a lot of good lines in that sequence there as well, about Tony saying, if we can't save the Earth, then you'll be damn sure we'll avenge it. That one's fucking fantastic. I can't even quote all the good lines that happened in this last battle. It's just too much. But the Chitauri invades. Another one of these that I really like from this battle, though, it's like also like a, oh wow, okay, kind of like deeper dig at things, is when Thor and Loki are fighting at the top of Stark Tower, Loki says there's only war, and then blasts Stark's name off the tower. He blasts the R and the X off of it. And so, like, the family that's been built up generations of wealth from, you know, supplying war with trinkets and explosive devices, you know,
correct.
That's all they've ever known gets destroyed because there's only ever war. And like Tony's trying to separate from that. It's just kind of ironic.
It is.
Yeah.
Or is it all planned?
It's all planned. No, it's intentional. And I just don't think I've seen anybody else really talk about that part, like that line in particular. So wanted to bring that up. And then obviously there's a bunch of good lines from the big old battle. I don't know how much you guys want to talk about that, but obviously that line, but right before they all team up for good is Banner shows up and goes, "That's my secret cap. I'm always angry." Right before he transforms. That's a good one.
Yeah, classic.
Oh, another one. While they're up on the building, is Thor's trying to convince Loki it's too late to stop it, and Thor tries to tell him, "No, we can together." And Loki decides that they're not going to do it together, and that he's gonna do this all on his own. Same thing that he does at the beginning of Endgame, takes things into his own hands, and ultimately loses because of it. So it kind of is pretty related to the events of Ragnarok and Thanos, and like doing things separately and how it all pans out, because they're never really on the same side at all. They never have been. Let's see.
If we talk about I don't know if you ever talked about. Do you talk about when when Loki tried to control Tony with the scepter, and he got rejected?
Yeah, he's like, "You'll all bend to my will." Dink. To my will. Dink. This usually works. Well, performance issues 1 in 5, and then he grabs him by the neck, throws him. Oh man, that's pretty great. And then like the suit up scene's great.
So like, I've always been kind of wondering why it doesn't work on Tony, and I think it's because of the Tesseract or the arc reactor, not because he just couldn't perform in that moment.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely because he's making contact with the arc reactor. If he touched him anywhere else on his body, would have been fine.
Yeah,
he would have been under his control. But because that would
have been a big what if. What if he actually aimed a different body part?
Oh God, they would
lose.
What
if he touched the penis?
Yeah, what if he touched the butthole?
What the fuck? That's where you guys go with it? I was like, what if he touched him in the forehead? You know, his mind.
No, man. You know, you gotta go with the...
Oh, my God.
The sexual body parts, because that line was, you know, based off of sexual things.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
so this usually works, you know? Like, you know.
I think that Tony ultimately creates Ultron behind his back, just like how Selvig created that failsafe with the scepter, and Ultron kills Loki.
Nah.
Yep. That's my guess. We could do a whole what if video if we want on that. I think that'd be kind of cool. Just go deep dark dive into what would happen if Loki actually took over Tony Stark's mind.
Yeah, but Ultron when that would have been made though, without the help of Banner.
Well, I mean,
and without the Mind Stone as well, theoretically.
I mean, he'd have Tony underneath his army, and he'd probably ask Tony to create a suit of armor to, his Ultron Sentry of bots. I mean, he'd ask him to create.
But will he need an Ultron though? Will he be like, okay, I already have the Chitauri as the world being taken. There's no need to have at least another army.
He wouldn't ask for Ultron bots necessarily. He would just ask for literal robots as an extra defense. you know, because ultimately he's gonna go against Thanos' back. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna try and turn on Thanos. He'd ask for an army, and then Tony would turn on him. Like, you know, something subconsciously, Eric Selvig was able to work in a failsafe. Same thing would happen with Tony. He'd create this failsafe, and it would end up being Ultron or something like that. I could see it.
Yeah. And, maybe like an Ultron, but not like the Ultron that we know. I get you though.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, let's see what else we got here. So obviously there's that scene where they go around in the circle and they're all teamed up for the first time. Tony delegates the entire plan of action to Cap, obviously, because he's a tactical fucking genius. So he literally just says straight up, call it, Captain. Captain America gives everybody their tasks and what they're supposed to do. Barton sits up top of the buildings and, you know, scopes everything out. Hulk's just going to go smash. Tony's just like literally supposed to fly around and keep all of the Chitauri in a certain radius. Thor is supposed to like take out as many as possible through the sky, like from coming into the portal to like limit the amount that come through. And then him and Nat are on the ground just trying to work the literally crowd control. So he's literally just like a street cop at that point. So one thing that's like really freaking great about this is like the segues in between all of these heroes and how they transition the shot. And like I think about how they did that in the Snyder Cut Justice League, how they like went from like Aquaman flying in the sky to Cyborg grabbing him, and that scene's great. But like even though this is like 10 years old, this movie does it better than that. Like it is so smooth across the board between all of the heroes doing things. Like they're like Tony flies by Thor or something like that, and then it shows him doing some stuff, and then he flies over the top of one of the big old worms, and Hulk's on the top of it smashing it or whatever, and then that thing flies by, and there's Hawkeye at the top of the building or whatever. However it is, it's like perfectly pieced together. Is like this super long. I mean, it's probably not actually one shot. Unless it is, I'd be really impressed. But it's like it flows as one huge shot, and it's really impressive, especially for it being 10 years old. They did the same exact thing in Age of Ultron when they jump over the barrier. Like the whole sequence just flows so well. I also want to note, I mean, the whole battle is incredible, but the scene we see in Hawkeye, where Kate Bishop's super inspired, is actually like the lowest point the Avengers hit in the battle. Like Hawkeye ends up like breaking the glass, and he's like, oh fuck, and then the Hulk's like being shot down by a bunch of Chitauri ships. And
yeah, but at that time though, like Hawkeye had just finished killing one of them, and then jumps off of a building.
Yeah,
like swings into like a thing, and like that's like him swinging in, going oh fuck.
Yeah,
like is him going oh god, like he's hurting.
Yeah,
but to an outside perspective, like that is like a badass, like kind of
exactly
moment.
100%. It's super funny though, because like, and I mean like ultimately they're just all in their worst spot, and like, oh, we're all gonna lose, but at that moment she's like, we are so safe, we're gonna be fine. And you're like, you have such a horrible perspective on this right now. You have no idea. I just thought that was a funny distinction to point out. So ultimately everybody's like in this desperation mode. Cap's like, I mean, Hawkeye's out of arrows even too at that point. Nat's flying around like clueless kind of, and has no help from Hawkeye anymore. Hulk's pinned down. Thor is, I don't even know where. He's down on the ground fighting with Cap, because Cap's like all beat up, and Cap
they're
gets
inside
shot.
like a building getting like the explosion.
Yeah.
And that's when he saves what was supposed to be his new love interest.
Yes, I did. Yeah, where she like is like staring at him as she's running out of the building and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was supposed to be his love interest, but it didn't test well apparently.
No, it doesn't seem plausible. Like, I get that, like, he's a hero and he's her hero, but like, he's not into that, so wouldn't.
I mean, he like in the movie, like he like was talking to her, and what is it? Wasn't that Stanley's cameo? Like, go get her number or something?
No.
No, Stanley's cameo in this one was in the news, and we talked about aliens.
Oh, right, yeah. Aliens.
He's playing chess in Central Park. So,
yeah, he's playing. Yeah, he'd be like he's playing chess with someone.
Yep, some other old dude, just in the middle of Central Park. He's like, aliens in New York? No way. You're like, dude, did you not pay attention to what happened an hour ago? But yeah, ultimately, the council goes above Fury's heads and sends in a nuke without his permission, like off his own helicarrier. So, I mean, Stark ends up getting news of that and immediately chases it down, flies it up into space. Also, one of those sort of things that, like, his suit didn't last in space because it was Jarvis couldn't get in contact with him, and now he's flying into space in Infinity War, and it's not Jarvis anymore, but his AI system is enabled in the suit Friday, like, and in space as well with that satellite, and he's able to contact, and have that resource at all times instead of it being on like a wireless sort of connection like Jarvis was. Yep. Because his suit went completely offline, and so.
But that's a direct connection to his tech not being good enough.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
At that time,
better.
Yeah.
By 100%. Making it so it works in space.
Yep. Absolutely. Just like how we saw him do the freezing thing in Iron Man 1, and all the other changes, not being fast enough for Rhodey, so he adds the thrusters, all that stuff. That's just another one on top there. I don't think oh, yeah, you guys are freezing a little bit too, sorry.
Yeah.
Man, this darn connection, dude. That's okay.
We're being hacked, that's why.
Gosh dang.
We're being hacked by the interwebs.
Interwebs.
Those darn interwebs.
Yeah, what the heck. But yeah, we ultimately watch Stark make the sacrifice play by flying that up there with no hope of coming back, and they even
which is also pretty much foreseen as what he's gonna do for Endgame, pretty much.
And it's kind of crazy too that they close the gate.
One to make the sacrifice play.
Yeah, that's it. It's kind of crazy that they close the gate as soon as they do. It's like, why aren't you giving him a little bit of time to get out of there at least? Like, you're closing it immediately. Play the hero.
It's like they don't have the option to keep it open longer though. That's the whole thing.
I think they do though, because obviously, like,
no, they were saying that they didn't really have the option to keep it open. It was like them going, it's now or never.
Yep.
Like,
I don't know what sort of urgency.
Remember, that portal was open not because of them. It's because Loki opened the portal to the machine, pretty much, for them to try to come in and invade.
But yeah, like, the machine is shut down by the scepter, obviously, and Nat shuts it down. But like, they had all the time in the world, I feel like, to close
it's pretty much,
it.
well, they did, but if you think about it, it's just pretty much of the moment, like tension, the moment, the hero moment for him to have his hero moment, pretty much. It's movie magic right there.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's like, in hindsight, you're like looking at it like, dude, if you wait like 2 to 3 extra seconds, you see him falling through. Not last second, you're like, okay, he's fine, now we can close it. Like, but it is, I guess it's suspense building. If you want to look at it,
it's movie logic, pretty much. If you want to think about it,
a tactic to get people invested. But so then they go and they, Hulk grabs him out of the sky because he doesn't have any power. He's not conscious even anymore. And then they have like one last thing to go do before they go get Shawarma, and that's capture Loki. So they capture him. Thor takes him back to Asgard with the Space Stone.
Oh, wait, you forgot to talk about the one important funny moment of this whole movie.
Oh God!
When Loki gets his ass kicked by Hulk.
Yeah, fuck! During the battle.
How'd you forget about the most important thing?
Puny God, dude. There's too much. Like, we're an hour and 15 minutes in.
You cannot talk about this important moment
Gosh, dude. Puny God. Puny God. That's such a good scene, dude. Like I said, this movie is timeless.
He's like, enough! I am a god. You are beneath me. This and that. I am superior. And they just straight up grabs him in the leg, just swings him. It's like dun dun.
He like looks at him and he goes, "Oh man." Yeah. So Loki's all fucked up, and so he easily is captured. He asks for if he can have that drink now that Stark had offered him.
Yep.
He gets returned to Asgard with Thor. It directly sets up the events for Thor 2 and him getting incarcerated on Asgard and everything that happens with the Dark Elves. All of the one thing that I wanted to point out that they directly reference here is Fury and Maria Hill are talking about, well, what are they going to do now? They have all gone their separate ways. And I know a lot of like the critiques of the individual solo films is that, oh, if they had just called up one of the other Avengers, they would be fine. But they've all gone their separate ways. Thor's off-world. They use the Tesseract to ultimately repair the Bifrost so that he can travel back
Correct.
to Earth. But literally all of this is like they're all in their own separate places. They're all trying to isolate and live their own lives. And like they don't just have the luxury to be like, Avengers assemble, I need help right now. Like they all have things going on. And I guess that's the case for any sort of superhero story. Is like, well, why wouldn't you call in another member of the Justice League? It's like, dude, they've got their shit going on too. And like a lot of people are like, well, the events of this movie and this movie are probably around the same time. It's like they're just in separate spots, dude. Like they don't they're not always around each other until they build the compound. And that's not till way later on. So I just wanted to talk about that. It's phase 3 when they start. I think it's built at the beginning of phase 3 or the end of phase 2 in Marvel.
The compound was not built during Age of Ultron, right?
It's after.
Which what?
Like the compound, the Avengers compound.
The Avengers compound.
I guess it's before.
It was after Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Yeah, directly after that, which is towards the end of phase 2.
It was a place to where all the Avengers could hang out.
Yeah.
So they could.
No, we see the compound the first. Yeah, we see the compound towards like the end of what? The end of Age of Ultron, or after?
They start building at the end of Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And so Vision
that's right.
and Wanda have a place to stay.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because then we see a little bit of the compound during Ant-Man, if I remember correctly. Because remember, he has to sneak in and he kicks the
Falcon's.
Yep,
that's correct. So it's also like that scene. I mean, this is that where Thor destroys the lawn, and Tony's like, "Man, that man has no care for lawn maintenance." Like that scene is like that's when they start building it. Is like there's construction going on in and around, and I mean it's partially built already, but that's when it starts getting up and running. So like they don't have a chance to like just come together. And then obviously we already talked about the Stan Lee cameo. He's the chess player in Central Park, and the post-credit scene is literally the reveal of Thanos, not Josh Brolin, but it shows
different Thanos.
Shows his face.
I'm looking back at this. There's like 3 different colors of Thanos. There's like him with that pinkish look, and there was him with like really bluish color. Him sitting on the thing.
Yep.
And then we have the original purple Thanos that we know. From
they hadn't figured out an exact idea of what they were going to do yet. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also
kind of why
you can't like model it after a person or like model it. Even like have like a model of what you want it to look like, because you kind of want it to resemble the actor that's playing him, because it makes the CGI all great. So they just kind of and you can't cast somebody like Thanos when it's
7
not
years in advance.
Like you don't know who that's gonna be and how long they're gonna be
7
around.
years. Has it been 7 years? Because this movie came out, I believe, in 2012, right?
2012, so it's 10 years. But like, I guess you can't cast him. And if Infinity War came out in 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's 6 years ish. Unless
Yeah,
it was
I got you.
2019. When was that? I want to say Infinity War was 2018.
On the could have been 2016 or 17.
2018. So
Okay.
6 years. It's like you can't cast somebody 6 years, potentially based on the timing, closer to 7 years in advance. When there's no way they knew what was going to go down, you know. So.
No, yeah, I get you.
But let's give this film its proper ratings now. So we're gonna rate this movie from 1 to 5, and we're gonna rate the post-credit scene and the Stanley cameo on a tier from S to F.
A quick reminder that the last video we reviewed was Steve Captain America. We gave it a 4 out of 5.
We did indeed.
Yep. I gave it a 5, didn't I?
We gave it a 4 out of 5.
Well, overall, we gave it a 4 out of 5. I don't have each individual person's.
I forget if I gave it a 5 or not.
I think you gave it a 4.
I think I did too. I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember exactly what I gave a 5 the other day. Because I gave, obviously, what we talked about today.
I'm looking here. We never gave anything a 5 yet.
Nothing's got a 5 yet.
Yeah,
Overall.
mostly 4. Yeah, the last few reviews here, I'm looking at our notes over here. We got a 4 out of 5 for the first Iron Man, 3 out of 5 for Incredible Hulk, 2 out of 5 for Iron Man 2.
It wasn't.
And 2 out of 5.
Thor.
Yep. And 4 out of 5 for Captain America.
It was.
But overall, Thor does have the best Stanley cameo.
Yeah.
/ post-credit scene.
Correct. Yep.
Like combo.
Yeah.
Yep. Correct.
I remember what I gave a 5 outside of today. It was The Matrix, the first one.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was like, it was in
Yeah.
the series, but it's not in the MCU. It's another different. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, check it out, guys. If you guys want to see us talk about The Matrix.
Yep. It'll be in the How Bad Was It playlist on our channel. So who would like to start on rating the film overall? It's a big challenge.
Well, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
It's going to be a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it has any real flaws in it.
No, I don't
like overall, especially at the time that it was made and that kind of stuff. And like, if they tried to remake it, like, would it be better? I don't think so.
No.
But I don't think it's worth an ultra film yet.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you give it 10 years and it is, but
like, I don't even know if in 10 years it is, because like,
interesting.
it's
Okay.
kind of a setup piece without being a setup piece.
Yeah. I get what you mean. You can kind of say any movie in the MCU is that, realistically. So.
Yeah, you can, but like, there are a few that like are just like standalone good movies. Like, the first Black Panther, like, that doesn't really set up anything, and it's just
no, not really.
a really good movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, I don't know. Like, for me, 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. That's fair.
I will go next.
But I will not. I won't. Judge anybody by giving it higher, because
Yeah.
it could very well deserve higher.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
Okay. This was pretty much. I mean, personally, this was like pretty much this was Marvel's first big superhero movie, pretty much. Like all what they said from Phase 1, pretty much, because this was the end of Phase 1. You know, this sets them up. So I will give this a respectable 4 as well. Not a 5 yet. You know, maybe there could have been more characters if they wanted to, but yeah, this was definitely a 4 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all fair. I'm very hesitant. I also don't want to give it a 5.
Okay.
It's super close to it though, and for all the right reasons. Like I said earlier, what's crazy is like, even though I'm not giving it a 5, nothing in this movie is out of place. Everything flows perfect. It's literally like if I had to describe it in one word, it's a perfect film. But I wouldn't say it's an ultra film.
Okay.
Because like there's so much more that comes after it. Like it's like you said, it is a setup piece in a way. But like part of me thinks that like I'll like rewatch this in like 10 years and go, yeah, no, that's an ultra film. It's like walking the line where it's like everything is like perfect. But it's almost like I feel like it's almost too perfect out of like nostalgia.
Okay.
More so than like, oh, it's like perfect because like it's literally just a masterpiece. It's like literally like that's just like the nostalgia of those lines and watching like when you first watch that movie after you've seen all the others and you're like, oh my god, this is insane, this is so crazy, and then they go, yeah, we're taking it further, and you're like, what? How are they ever gonna outdo this? And like then they do. So I think it's nostalgia more that it's perfect for me because it's like every line is memorable. And
it is a very quotable movie, which is like
exactly
in the grand scheme of things, like quotable movies are the better movies.
Yeah.
Like it's so crazy. Like everybody can quote Will Ferrell movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone could.
Pretty much.
Like Talladega Nights. Like everybody knows at least 18 quotes from Talladega Nights.
Anchorman.
Old
school.
Anchorman's great.
There's a lot of people that don't like Will Ferrell movies, but like even if they don't like Will Ferrell,
still remember the
they
lines.
can quote they can quote the lines.
Yeah.
Which is like weird to me. Like if you don't like an actor, how can
You're
you
not on fire.
Like but it's like if you don't like the actor, like how can you quote the lines of the movie?
Yeah.
Like because clearly you watched it, clearly it was memorable.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I don't know. There was just like we should do a Will Ferrell. Like how bad was it?
Oh, dude. That's
I'm looking into doing a quick
finished...
little mini research. IMDb gave this 8 out of 10. Tarantino's gave this a 91%.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah,
that's pretty.
Yeah,
good.
I mean they kind of have it right where we have it.
Yeah.
Like
4 out of 5 is 8 out of 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's tiptoeing the line of a 5 out of 5. And so like
You
that
know the
would put
funny
it
thing
like
is that this movie came out
towards
on
9.
May 4th on Star Wars Day.
Oh shoot.
Dang.
Taking
they stole
shots,
Star Wars
Disney.
Thunder.
Yeah, May 4th, 2012.
It's funny to think that, like because when did episode 7 come out?
20. No, this came out years later after episode 7.
Yeah. Episode
Years
7
later,
was... No, episode 7 wasn't that long ago, was it?
Yeah, it was like around 20 something. Star Wars 2015.
2015.
Yep, 2015.
3 years before.
3 years after. Yep.
That's like I don't know what I was really going for it, but like just like the whole Star Wars like came out on May 4th, like stealing its thunder, but like the whole like they finished all 3 of these Star Wars movies. All of them could be considered 8 times worse than this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Force Awakens was good.
Rotten Tomatoes actually gives Force Awakens a 93.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good tradition. The Last Jedi was good as well, and The Rise of Skywalker was. We will never talk about it.
Jeez. Oh man. We should do a how bad was it for the whole entire Star Wars franchise. It's something.
Well, that's really easy to do though. I can do it right now.
Oh god.
I could too.
I mean, like,
I could. Trust me. I will. Trust me. Both. We know what goes on in Star Wars.
And a minute.
I know, but no. The Phantom Menace is a fucking masterpiece, dude. It's so good.
Oh, okay.
Phantom Menace.
It's a 5.
It's a 5.
Okay. Anyways, let's go over to the post credit scene.
Yep.
Actually Stanley cameo first. Actually, I'm sorry. Stanley cameo, the guy playing chess in Central Park, saying, "Oh, hey, there aren't aliens in New York."
Quick reminder for everyone that's following.
Yeah, go for it.
But here's a quick thing here though, Evan.
Yes.
That Stanley cameo, it wasn't actually Stan Lee. It was a scroll.
Oh. Stop it. No.
Stop the count.
Who's saying that?
I'm saying it right now.
Oh God.
Plot twist, major plot twist, ladies and gentlemen.
All the scrolls were actually just, or all Stan Lee cameos were just all scrolls.
It could be. Honestly,
Could be.
that'd be messed up if they did that to him now.
Right? Yeah, now it would be.
They just use that. They just
if he
use
was
the
still alive.
same guy as the framework for all these different.
Yeah, quick reminder for everyone's refresh on the Stanley cameo. The first one we gave an A+ because he was Hugh Hefner.
Yep.
Incredible Hulk, he was a D. I think he was just the old man that died, I believe.
Yep.
Well,
He got sick with gamma poisoning.
Yeah.
Drinking a gamma irradiated fizzy drink.
Yep.
Yep. Iron Man 2, we gave it an S.
Oh yeah.
I forgot what cameo was it for Iron Man 2.
That one I think that one he's Hugh Hefner. In Iron Man 1? No. In Iron Man 2, who is he actually? Oh, he's Larry King in Iron Man 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, Larry King, yep.
Yep.
Thor, we gave him his little cameo, a B+.
Yep.
And
That's the man pulling the hammer out
and
of
the
the
Captain
truck.
America, we gave it a C.
Okay. So this one, honestly, I'm gonna have to say a D. I think.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really add anything. It's a good little one-liner, but I mean, they're just doing little interviews with everybody. So.
Yeah. I'll be nice. I'll give it a C. It was like a decent cameo. He was like on the news saying aliens. Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna give it a C as well. Like, it's not great, but it's not like it could be even better if it does turn out that he's a Skrull.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's just trying to Skrulls. No, those aren't a thing.
No.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. That's actually. I see what you meant by that now. It took me until you said him just trying to avoid that question. Ugh, that'd be actually pretty funny.
So if somehow they come out and say some of the Stan Lee cameos were just Skrulls
That's
trying
gotta
to
be one.
deter alien speak,
Oh.
and especially after the fact of this movie takes place after Captain Marvel.
Yep.
And the Skrulls are set on Earth for what is it? At that point, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's
like, what? No aliens.
What?
I don't know anything
there's no
about
aliens
that.
in Central Park. There's no aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Next, we
Dang.
finally talk about the post-credit scene.
Yep.
That is a C minus.
C minus.
What is it? What was the post-credit scene again?
Well, the Stan Lee cameo ended up being
yeah.
an average of a C minus.
C minus.
Yep.
But for a post-credit scene, it's the Thanos reveal.
Yeah.
I think it's, even though it's not, I think that people overreact to the fact that it's not the same exact model as the Josh Brolin Thanos. This is still Thanos is coming, and Thanos was behind all of this, and the Avengers are fucked when he gets there. And you, know that, Marvel has big freaking plans.
Yeah.
S tier. Easily.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's good.
That's pretty-
Yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I think it deserves at least an S tier because it shows that this is the potential big bad guy pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty much sets up saying okay, what's coming? Who's coming? This guy's coming for us. Avengers. This big guy's coming for us. We don't know why, but yeah.
I can see S tier. I was gonna give it an A, but they could have been better with the lines that were said. They could have
yeah, I agree.
or really it was just him turning around and smiling, right? That was what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't
him
say
just turning around
anything.
saying Loki failed. We need to find another way to get the Tesseract and deal the stones. And then he just turns around and gives us a big old pink smile.
Yeah.
I think it could have been better since he literally handed them the 2 stones, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
He already had the stones, and then he's here, have the stone. And he placed it on Earth. So that
it's an
a
investment
little bit
strategy.
of a why did you do that thing. So like
Yeah.
I was gonna give it an A, but like I can be persuaded to an S.
Yeah.
That time, everyone's like, "Oh my God, Thanos! Is he gonna come soon? When's he gonna come?"
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an
Yeah.
S minus though.
Okay, that's
As
fair.
our official grade.
That's cool with me.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all we have to say about this movie. We've said quite a bit. We covered as many of the good one-liners as we could, and it's a great film. It tees up everything else that we see in the MCU really, really well, and it was pretty much a timeless film. Like, you can go back and kind of watch it, and it's gonna be great regardless.
Yep.
And so that's
the end of Phase 1 of Marvels.
Yeah.
This is the end of.
It is.
Phase 2 is the official. Iron Man 3 is the official start to Phase 2.
Yep.
Correct.
It is, and that will be the next film that we cover in the How Bad Was It series.
Boy.
We will see you in that episode. Until then, we have a lot of other stuff coming out pretty soon here, so stay tuned and watch all of that if you want. And
check out our other videos as well. Yeah.
All the other videos in the How Bad Was It series will be in the playlist on our channel, like I said, titled How Bad Was It. Pretty crazy that it's in that playlist, but that's where it will be. And until the next one, we will catch you later. Peace.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Do it.
Do it.